The following is a presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
You know, we have Tom from Tampa on the phone. Hey, Tom. Good morning. It's bright and early now, huh?
Hey, Paige. Good. How you guys doing, Nico?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, your newsletter's outstanding, man. I'm telling you, man, it is outstanding. And so is the Primal Lifestyle. I love that stuff. I'd never be without it. I mean, I've been on it now 3-4 months, man. I mean, it's just, I can't get over how good I feel.
Primal Edge is, people are raving about it. People who are trying it, they know because you can feel it.
Would not be without it.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now your hosts, Nico Haan and Paige Clarke.
Good morning, I'm Nico Haan. Welcome to Living a Primal Lifestyle, where we explore a return to a more balanced, natural, wild world.
To recover our natural health, our rights, and our freedoms. And I'm Paige Clarke. Good morning.
Good morning, and it's a beautiful day, 64 degrees, mostly clear in downtown Clearwater, and we're going to have just a wonderful week.
I think so. It looks beautiful. This is a great time to be in Florida, and hope you're enjoying your weather where you're at.
And if you're freezing up north, come on down and see us.
That's right. And if you have any questions for us, you can reach me at paige@tfnn.com.
And Nico@tfnn.com. We're taking your phone calls at 877-927-6648.
This is going to be an interesting show because, Nico, you really enlightened me a lot about what's going on as far as the climate goes. I'm very impressed with the research you do, and all of you all will probably really enjoy it.
Well, I listened to this guy who used to be based in Miramar, and now he floats around China and Japan and the Middle East, or the East, the Far East, I guess it is. And his name is Adapt 2030. His name's David Byron.
I love him. Yeah, you got me going. I'm subscribing to his YouTube channel.
Yeah, and he's got a new thing on the Apple podcast. So he's got a podcast now, Adapt 2030. Same with, he has it on also on YouTube. So I have been watching his YouTube for quite a few years. Now he has something.
Are they two different things?
They cross over a bit, but the podcast.
I have the Adapt 2030.
Yeah, that's the YouTube is the video, and he also has some just audio, which he says is easier to produce, and he can put out more content. They have a lot of interviews with people. I wanted to show this map because this is a map that the National Oceanic.
So can I just preface this with, before you show the map, so we're talking about climate change, we're talking about solar activity, and there's no denying that we have climate change.
Yeah.
The only difference is that whereas many of us think that we're in a global warming, we know we live in an upside-down world, that usually what's up is down, what's down,
a lot of times
and
that's
what's
the
left
case.
is right.
Yeah.
So what we've been sharing with you is actually, due to solar minimum, we are actually heading towards a global cooling or a mini ice age. And we explore that based on this premise. This is what we think.
Knows,
yeah, we're not scientists, but the evidence, and there's many scientists that do say this.
John Casey, he's the head of the weather for many years with the government. A lot of people are on board with this. A lot of people, of course, a lot of climates, they have that meme that says 98% or 97% of all scientists agree. Well, they don't.
Right.
But this is some of the things that I'm exploring. So here's a map that we always get record heat everywhere, and this was for 2017.
Oh, that was our 2016. This is showing us that, oh, wow, these are the areas of the world that had record heat.
Yeah, we got record heat. This is the actual map before it went to the scientists, and this is what it shows. And this is pretty much land temperatures.
So what you're saying is here, this is the actual data, and then it was doctored up.
Well, what they did is they combined a lot of the water vapor with this. In other words, they took the oceanic measurements and things, but that changes a lot. You can't just measure land and water and get an accurate picture. If you measure the land, you get a much more sustainable what's actually happened to us, because we're really not on the oceans that much except traveling. So this
and it
is
does
just
show,
one
look at Florida. It is a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
And we were joking that we haven't really had a chance to wear our cute winter clothes so much.
Yeah. It is warmer, no doubt about it. But
But
there's
it's really
actually
colder up
there's
in
not
the-
much data coming from Africa, and they're really showing that here's the record heat in Africa. And if you actually talk to the people there, they're having all kinds of problems. The reason I bring this whole thing up is because in Europe right now, and let me get to the other links here, they're really showing a lot of things about that people are really not getting their food anymore. You can see that here we have different shelves that people are protecting only 2 or 3 you can get per person with this particular thing. Flooding in Spain. Of course, the flooding is not global warming, or maybe it isn't global cooling. It's flooding caused by the weather. And this is really what happens when you're talking about going into a grand solar minimum, which means that the weather is changing. You're going to have some outrageous hot, but you're going to get a lot of cool in there.
Right.
And when the cool makes its switch...
It's truly change.
When the cool makes a switch, it's rather fast. They say maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe a couple of years, but it can happen very quickly. So,
yeah, here's a headline article, World Leaders Duped by the Manipulated Global Warming Data. And here you're showing evidence that not necessarily warming, it can be cooling, it can be shortages due to weather and flooding. I listened to that podcast he was talking about how when we have these flooding, it can just wipe out whole crops.
Yeah, iceberg lettuce and broccoli ration as vegetables hit the supermarket. This is in Britain. British rotating
Supermarkets
vegetables.
are beginning rationing of vegetables after bad weather in Spain.
Italy, fennel and leafy vegetables.
Were lost due to frost.
Abnormal cold front in the south of Italy. Tomato prices skyrocketing in Belgium. This is really not happening here so much yet. Europe gripped by sky-high vegetable prices. There's one in Holland, very, very expensive.
Prices of leafy greens are going through the roof in Holland.
Rationing of vegetables in Europe due to snow and cold. Ice age now. A touch of frost in Europe. And the paper finds that
1950 to 2009, the solar grand maximum was a rare, even unique event.
Yeah, and this is, if you really go into the records and look at some of the charts that they have, let me see if I can bring one up, it'll really show you the actual data here is in that black line. And this is what they predicted from the global warming, which is really not happening. This is the peak here.
Right, that's kind of where we are, which is not exactly what they say. Yeah. Here's a couple of comments on that. World leaders are duped by the manipulated global warming data. A lot of people are exaggerating the global warming situation. And even America's National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has broken its own rules. And their reports are claiming that the pause in global warming never existed, but it was based on misleading and unverified data. Well, so scientists are confused, right?
Yeah, there's also some scientists saying because of global warming, we've averted the ice age completely already. So, a lot of different things. I invite people to do their own
well, that could be. So what they're saying is, the truth is we should be having an ice age again, a mini ice age, but it may be less because of this.
Yeah, because about every 200 to 400 years we have these ice ages, and about every 400 to 800 years we have these grand ice ages, which the modern minimum was, and a lot of people were starving. And then if you go back and look at all the things that Adapt 30 brings up in his show, talking about the dynasties from China, every dynasty that fell always fell during a grand solar minimum.
Which
every single one.
Just to remind the new listeners, we are projected to be heading towards a grand solar minimum.
We are we are right now at the end of our maximum. So this is the last going into the maximum. So at the end of this cycle, which is a little bit longer cycle than normal, and it's supposed to be starting right now, about 17, 18, 19, is where we're starting our minimum. So the temperatures will be slightly rising and then falling again. The next time it falls, they say we're going to be in the 1920s, and it's going to be very, very cold. With
1920,
the 2020s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
then
the
by
2020s,
the 2030s, we're going to be very, very cold.
Very cold. Okay.
This is the prediction. So I'm following this, and I invite people just to be prepared, and we're going to be right back.
Right.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back. You know, we went to the Ketogenic conference here in Tampa. I had a short window of attending, but Stephen did the whole thing. And so
what was the name of the thing?
It was the nutritional ketosis seminar. And Stephen just had a great time, and I think he's going to try and tap in with us on Thursday.
Oh, wonderful.
And give us some of the pearls that he learned or connections he made, because we call him the super connector.
Yes.
So I want to go over this information that we have here in our show about how a low-carb ketogenic diet changes genetic expression, or epigenetics. You know, epigenetics simply means above the genes, beyond the genes. And this is an interview that was done with a PhD scientist, Lucia Aronica. HighIntensityHealth.com shared this with us. Lucia is a researcher and instructor at Stanford University and San Jose State University, and she's been working with Professor Christopher Gardner on the largest study ever undertaken to compare low-carb versus low-fat, with the goal of understanding how diets affect gene activity through epigenetic modification. And for this project, she's been awarded a Marie Curie fellowship from Europe's most competitive research grant, and she was scoring #1 amongst applicants in the entire life science panel. So anyways, she's been doing a lot of study all over the world, and she's done research experience at the University of Oxford, University Naples, Italy, University of Vienna, Southern California, Stanford, blah, 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 blah.
And they're also exchanging information with Dr. D'Agostino, Dominic.
Dominic D'Agostino, who was actually the doctor who we're so thrilled to have, a leader in the ketogenic movement, a medical doctor out of USF here in Tampa, and he really put together this conference.
Yeah, and so she was on this podcast. I found it very interesting. She mentioned that she was born in Italy, and when she got this gig, she went to Vienna, Austria. And she says it was quite a culture shock for her, because she was always eating a little bit of pasta and a little bit of bread in Italy, and then when they moved to Austria, no, they don't do that there. They eat mostly from their own food in that big valley. I mean, Austria is surrounded by mountains, kind of like Switzerland is in a way, where they're kind of on their own, and they don't really go out the valley that much, and so they eat all the good food from the valley, both animals and plants. She lost 15 pounds in the year that she was there, not even trying to lose weight, just all of a sudden doing research in ketogenic diets, and then finding out herself that she normalized really well. So she got this gig in Stanford, very interesting because it's just what she wanted to study. And she's deep into it now, over a year.
And she's really focusing on personalized medicine, which is the future of health. I like to call it personalized health care.
Yeah.
I don't even like to use the word medicine anymore, but I think these are the doctors that really are who we need to pay attention to, you know?
Yeah, her area of interest is really personalized medicine that is tailored to your specific character traits,
right,
your gene expression, and also taking in consideration your lifestyle, because we now know that all of these three things have express themselves in our gene. We can turn things on and off just by our lifestyle, also by
how we
our
move,
food.
how we think, what we drink. All of these things affect the epigenetics.
And of course, there is some heredity involved in a lot of things, but you can switch things on and off.
Very little.
Yeah,
less than 2%.
Exactly what she's saying. So this follow-up really considered of 609 obese and overweight men and women. So for 1 year, they followed the Atkins low-carb diet, or they followed a low-fat diet. So they really weren't concerned too much about the quality of food like Atkins was. They were just concerned about the
Atkins he was not interested in the quality
That's
of food.
what I meant,
correct.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, they just were basically using pure numbers, macro numbers.
Yeah, I like the way she starts off, and she says there are gene switches on top of our DNA, and these switches are influenced by lifestyle, environment, stress, sleep, age, toxins, and exercise. Epigenetic changes also play a role in our psychology. We have the same DNA in every cell of our body, and that's really interesting to me when I heard this years ago, that every cell of our body has all the changes that can take place in our body.
It has the whole library.
In fact, it has the whole
which book is it going to pull off the shelf?
Not only that, it has the whole library of every other animal, too.
That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's the genetic library. Yeah. And then the cell, how does a cell know, I'm a skin cell? Oh, I pulled that book off the shelf. Right. That's the way it works. Isn't that cool?
It is.
So, there are switching of genes on and off. And these gene switches are on the top of the DNA. And as Nico said, they're influenced by everything. I like to say it's the software programming.
That's right. And diet plays an important role in gene expression. The old adage is that we are what we eat, and perhaps also what our grandmother ate.
And you and I always say it's in what our animals that we eat.
That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's debated whether epigenetic modifications are transgenerational. Diet is what makes the difference between the queen bee in the hive and the workers.
Hey, stop there for a second. Okay. Is it transgenerational? So I think I shared with you some information when we just had the Holocaust Memorial for the Jewish Holocaust.
Yeah.
I stumbled on the Irish Holocaust website, the irishholocaust.org.
Potato famine thing.
Which, of course, it's not really a potato famine. It was a starvation by the British soldiers.
Right.
They were stealing the food. It was, that's what the history books make you think, that there was a problem. But what I'm saying is that there could be some tie-in between why maybe some of the Irish people maybe struggle with their weight because there's cellular memory of starvation.
Yeah, I think how your community ate for hundreds and hundreds of years makes a difference on what yours is. I eat a lot of Gouda cheese. It doesn't bother me. My wife can't eat it. She was a different part of Europe.
Yeah, right. And Gouda cheese, you're exactly right. So if you're from the Netherlands and you're from Scotch-Irish and stuff, you're going to eat those cheese and eggs. And just like the Austrians, and I know because, you
go there a lot.
Yeah, and they eat good fatty foods,
Exactly.
And it's funny too because Austria, it's only 2 hours away from Italy. It's right there. It's right next door. But anyways, yes, it is. We were talking about how the bees are genetically identical, but what switches when the queen eats the royal jelly and she becomes this very large, prolific little
leader of the clan.
So there's lots of examples of this in human and animal studies, though.
Yeah, she investigates how low-carb or low-fat diet can change gene expression. So that's really what we're talking about. 95 generic variances are still associated with predisposition and becoming obese have been identified. So you've got 95 different things that are in your body that can switch on or off to make you obese.
And that's really what it is, folks. It's like having a circuit breaker, and you turn these on. Here it is. Here it is. Here's a comment. This is about a different famine, but in 1945, a famine in the Netherlands. Children that were exposed to the famine in the first 10 weeks after conception had lower methylation of the EGF, epidermal growth factor, and they had an increased disposition towards diabetes. And perhaps the genes of these children learned to cope with the famine with upregulated storage mechanisms, but they're really seeing the impact of these things multi-generational.
Yeah. You know, the DNA strand within each cell is 6 feet long.
It's amazing.
It's amazing how small and thin it is, but it gets
coiled up into the tininess of a cell.
Cool.
So she's kind of got this niche of how a low-carb or low-fat diet can change the gene expression. This is my passion. I don't have her credentials and everything, but I really believe this is where we're going, where people will elect to work with coaches or doctors or teams of people to change their story, their health story, their epigenetic and expression of their genes. That's your health, and that's control.
That's for sure. Folks, we have a brand new Health Signals newsletter out right now, number 3. Are you experienced exercising to lose weight? There's an interesting article at our
That you wrote yourself, yep.
But a lot of more things in here that pertain to just this. So
We'll be right back.
Would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video, giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And welcome back. So we were talking that 95 generic variances are associated with a predisposition to become obese, and these have been identified. But only 2%.
So we're talking about genetic differences. Genetic
and only
expressions.
2% of these are predisposition gene expression. The rest is made up by lifestyle.
That's exactly what I was telling you.
Yeah.
That what we have found, and people think that they're destined for something, and that's very successful mind think for the pharmaceutical industry, because if we think that, oh, well, I just have it in my family, you don't have it in your family, most likely. It's a very small point. It's just that your family might choose the same lifestyle.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying all Muslims are extremists.
Well, exactly.
You know.
I mean, exactly. There's what's that thing? One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch.
Not just in vegetables, not in people.
Yeah. So let's talk about what do ketones have to do with gene expression.
Really
we were at the ketogenic conference, and this is just fascinating, great information. Selective genetic expression differentiates cells and is controlled by the expansion and contraction of something called histones. And then after you have the histones, the main ketone body, beta-hydroxybutyrate, helps with the relaxation or constriction of these chromatins. This is kind of, heavy. Let's just say
technical.
this. Food compounds with similar activities include curcumin, which is turmeric, resveratrol, and sulfurin. Sulfurin you get from your cruciferous vegetables. So what we're saying is there are compounds in foods that contribute to helping us to open up the DNA for gene expression. And then there are certain compounds found in foods and the environment that help us close the DNA strands so that we can get ideal expression.
Kind of like the fulvic and humic acid does for our opening up the cells.
It opens up the cells, correct?
Yes.
And what we're looking for to help make the gene expression happen are methyl and acetyl groups.
Which are
like methyl B12. Why do you think we were so picky about Primal Edge?
Yeah.
We wanted methylated because even though a great deal of people have the genes, the gene expression or the lifestyle to properly methylate their B vitamins for good gene expression. Some people don't. They've been exposed. Their methylation pathways are not working well, and then as a result, they don't get the good gene expression.
Yeah. And she says in here, we humans have our own versions of the royal jelly that the queen has, and this is what we're talking about, the methyl donors like B12, vitamin
B9, which is folate, and methionine are found in a variety of plants and animal foods like green leafy vegetables, nuts, meats, and eggs.
Exactly.
And this is where we run into the struggle with a lot of people that adapt a vegan diet. This is where they oftentimes run into trouble because they're just not getting the right sources for these crucial. I really have to work with these people to make sure they're getting a good live source of the bees, an active source that they can use.
I agree. I agree. So diet can change the expression of genes and play the role in obesity and inflammation. A gene candidate approach is the exploration of a gene that played a role in leptin or the TNF-alpha.
Tumor necrosis factor. Well, this is the fact that weight loss reshapes epigenetic modification, and she's been studying this DNA methylation. And so she says in addition to the methyl groups, she's finding that this DNA methylation helps us to make sure that we are properly methylating and breaking things down, which leads to greater weight loss.
Yeah.
And she's been finding that some people receive the benefit of a ketogenic diet on a medium carbohydrate diet, and others need to far lower their carbohydrate intake to 20 grams per day. And I learned that at the conference. Sounds like a really small amount, and it actually is.
It is a small amount. Some people, once you're adapted, you can go back up and do a certain amount. Maybe I can do 60 or 70 grams and not get into trouble.
And perhaps if you're really active, too.
Yeah, and activity that definitely plays a role in it. One of the interesting things is that she really was not a low-carber until she read a book by Gary Taubes.
Gary Taubes was a real leader in thoughts.
Yeah, and he's really started out as a reporter and investigated journalism and started investigating this. And we find this a lot of people who, like myself, who studied journalism or maybe was a lawyer. The people, when you're being a journalist and when you're being a lawyer, you investigate things and you go really deep into these things to find out what you can find out about that subject. Maybe you're not an expert in the subject, but you've you do become an expert in a sense in the subject by reading all these materials maybe that other people don't read. And that's what Gary Taubes does. I was very impressed with a lot of his talks, how he dug deep and found out that, the whole food pyramid and everything that we talked about is a disaster of the making of. That's why we're in trouble after 50 years of following this.
And that's what we're doing here on this show, guys. We're digging ourselves out. So just to reiterate here, our researcher here is creating an innovative approach to determining the diet's influence on the gene expression. So they're looking at the role how genes that play a role in the leptin levels. And they've been testing to see how diet changes gene expression. And her team, Dr. Aronica and her team, are using a discovery approach, looking the whole genome wide.
Yeah.
To look at all the genes in your non-coding regions of your DNA. And this approach is very expensive, but it's leading to fascinating discoveries in gene expression.
And one of the fascinating things is her own discovery. She read about ketogenic diet, and then she finally went on a ketogenic diet. In less than a year, her blood was transformed. After the diet, her triglycerides dropped from 80 to 30. Her HDLs went from 65 to 135. Consuming fat, she says, does not correlate with too fat in your blood. Triglycerides come from carbohydrates.
And so high triglycerides, people that have high triglycerides in their blood, it's a carb eater or a drinker.
Yeah, so we can have a maximum of 1 teaspoon of sugar in our blood. When we go over this, our body transforms sugar into fructose, into fat.
Stores it as fat, and the triglycerides rise. So that's interesting. So yeah, she actually did her own transformation, felt it herself. So,
well, I think I'm more impressed with people that do this themselves, because how can you go down this path if you're not doing it yourself and truly find out? You've got to experience this, because, I mean, after 8 years of experimenting with this, and I think really 5 years of being full bore on, I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. I've got more energy, and I think it's just getting better and better.
And less body aches, and boy, once
amazing.
when you live on these real foods, and you get the inflammation down in your body, you are so sensitive to what triggers it.
Yeah,
because
true.
Hey, sometimes life happens, and
That's
we
right.
get busy, and we're working like for 3 days straight, and somebody orders a pizza, and you eat it because there's nothing else going on. But but then the next day you feel it.
But if you're a ketogenic diet, that doesn't happen, because you're really not pulled in by those things. You're not hungry, and you know better.
Yeah, true. So what is her diet? A ketogenic diet is not only butter and meat. In general, people who limit carbohydrates eat more greens and other vegetables than vegetarians. Did you hear that?
And
that's so true. How many vegetarians do I know that say they won't eat animals, and then you look at them and,
they
they're
don't
eating
eat vegetables either. They eat seeds.
Yeah, and they're eating, macaroni and
seeds
and a tofu sauce or something.
It's really a seed-based diet, grass seeds. These are the staple that they're using, something that has never occurred anywhere in the history of human beings except in the last 5 to 10,000 years, and more so these days than ever before. We use those things to survive certain climate conditions.
And like I say, her diet, 50 to 60% fat. She eats lots of low-carb vegetables. She eats high-carb vegetables and fruit as an occasional treat. She has
beautiful
proteins,
thing.
Nuts, fish, eggs, seeds.
Number here is 877-927-6648. During the break, please pick up some Primal Edge. Get healthy. Okay, let's see. You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionics, oil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Talking about genetics, and a lot of people wonder, aren't our genetic futures tied to our genes? It's not true. It's not hardwired. And what we found out instead, genes can be turned on and off by experiences and the environment. And what we eat, how much stress we undergo, and what toxins we're exposed to can all alter the genetic legacy that we were passed on to our children and even our grandchildren. So this new science of epigenetics, as we've been discussing, meaning above the genes, researchers are exploring how nature and nurture combine to cause behavior traits and illnesses that genes alone can't express.
Yeah, and one of the questions in here is that can changes occur later in life? And it says here, absolutely, young children who are abused are more likely to have epigenetic changes that are coping with the stress and the difficulty. Twins may inherit a gene that predisposes them to cancer, but only one will develop disease because of the diet, toxins, smoking, turning on the gene, while the other different habits go cancer-free.
Right there. I've seen pictures of twins that have had different lifestyles. They separated them, and they said, look, genetically they're identical. So you would think they would develop the same things, but based on how they deal with the environment.
Yeah, and we've all seen probably TV shows about twins that have lived apart for many years, and then they come together, and you notice they're maybe dressed the same, the hairstyle might be the same, the kids look the same. So genetics is a powerful thing, but we can still change it, and that's the beautiful part of it.
And this is there's a real neat twin study. Dr. Walter Pirapoli, I might have said his name wrong, but he was an Italian doctor who did research on a set of twin women, and they separated them in like over 10 years. One twin took melatonin. Oh. The natural. Yeah. The other one didn't. Remarkable difference in the aging.
Wow.
And because, again, women and estrogen were more sensitive to electromagnetic and free radicals. Sure. And they're saying now that we should all take that, and I do periodically, and then I fall off the wagon on my melatonin. But I don't need it for sleep, but I take it for that beauty reasons.
Yeah. Let's see. Over the past 5 years, evidence that epigenetic plays a major role in cancer has become absolutely rock solid. And this is from Robert A. Weinberg, a biologist at Whitehead Institute in Cambridge, Massachusetts. So he thinks it's a factor in autism. He thinks it's a factor in diabetes. And, of course, we, because of the diet that has changed so much in the last maybe 150 years, we do see a lot more autism. We do see a lot more expression of different brain diseases. And I really do feel from the research that this has to do with that low-fat diet that we started maybe 100 years ago.
And not just low-fat, but away from the animal foods. Here you go. How does this affect who we are? We're only just now beginning to find this out. A woman's diet during pregnancy, this is very close to my heart. A woman's diet during pregnancy seems to have a major impact on her baby's epigenetic tags. Prenatal diets that are low in folic acid, B12, and other nutrients containing those methyl groups we talked about earlier, which are the set of molecules that tag genes. It's like the methyl groups say, hey, you need to be switched on, you need to be switched off. And these are the ones that cause the epigenetic changes, have been linked to an increased risk of asthma, brain, spinal cord defects in children. Stress, too, can alter fetal epigenetic expression. You know, my son was born with cleft lip and palate. I believe that at that point in my life, it was my third child, it was the 90s. It was turkey and big hair and
Party time.
And going to the not so much.
Nope.
Just when I think back, I don't remember. It was like meat was out. Turkey, having a turkey wrap and
especially the white meat.
Yeah,
we were definitely in the 90s. We were definitely on that low-fat kick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I really think that started to kick in. And pregnant women, were more likely to give birth to have birth defects when these crucial dietary things are not there. So
researchers used to think that when a sperm and egg combined, all their genetic tags were erased, leaving the result embryo in it with a clean slate. Now we know that about 1% of this tag escapes erasure and passes directly on to the offspring.
A doctor explained it to me. Your genes are like a gun put to your head. What you do, what you eat, how you move, how you breathe, how you think is whether or not the trigger gets pulled.
Wow.
So you might have a bunch of guns pointed at your head, but whether or not you actually engage them is really up to you, and that's why I'm so much about health and healing empowerment. We are powerful.
Well, for me, the proof came when all my life I've had all these problems with my leaky gut, with this nervous stomach, as my teachers, my parents, the doctor called it. Oh, you're just nervous. Keep eating your cornflakes, no problem. And when I switched, almost immediately that stopped and never to return. And then all the other things, my hair not getting thinner, my hair maybe getting some color back, my eyes feel really good, I'm sleeping better, I perform better, I'm cheerful all the time, I have a really good attitude. I think all this has to do with the food.
I think you're right.
And when you're happy with what you eat, man, you're a happy camper. You really are.
You are.
It's an amazing thing.
So are these new insights yielding medical therapies? Well, of course, they got to figure out a way to make money, right? I think I'd like to see that we don't have to turn to medicine or pharmaceuticals to make this powerful. I think that, just as I said, the epigenetics are controlled by what we do, think, eat, move, sleep, and breathe. And, there is, over these past 5 years, this evidence that they play a major role in diseases such as cancers is there. But drugs are in the works, aimed at undoing cancerous epigenetic changes. But maybe it's not the drugs, because all the pharmaceutical companies are doing, they're saying is, what are the things in nature that turn off these switches? And we know there's wonderful natural supplements and so forth that have many of those, the curcumin, which is the phytochemical in turmeric, and there's the sulforanes in the cruciferous vegetables, and there's resveratrol found in wine and dark red things. So I don't know that we have to sit around and wait for the drug companies to come up with a solution.
No,
and I don't even think
not.
their solution is going to be the best, and I don't even think it's going to be the most affordable. So we need to start learning what is in these foods, eating these foods that are rich in gene-altering methyl groups. And what do I always say? Beets beat the disease, and beets are loaded with methyl groups. And that's why many people that have had cancer or things have really had major changes by switching things
Yeah,
off.
and there's even talk about that we're actually a different species almost. We could say we're Homo sapien domesticado or something like that.
Right.
Maybe, but we have exchange. I mean,
we've made the choices.
Yeah, evolution is a funny thing. Of course, evolution is the method that nature uses to appear different species. I mean, all of a sudden there was no species here. We had a Homo erectus, and all of a sudden Homo sapiens appeared. We don't know how this happened, but we know this happens. All of a sudden, there's a new animal that is on our planet, and it appears. Maybe it came from something. We don't know the mechanism, but that's what we call evolution. Things appear.
Well, hopefully evolution is moving in a more attractive and healthy thing, but unfortunately it doesn't look that way. It's like that graph of Homo erectus and then Homo sapien, and then you got the big fat guy saying, turn around, we messed up.
Yeah, we messed up. Well, we have messed up, but that doesn't mean we can't turn it around.
With this knowledge, we have the power to turn it around. And, just to give you a quick idea before we go on the break, in one famous experiment, researchers fed a methyl-rich diet to a pregnant female mouse, and that carried a gene that made them fat, yellow, and prone to cancer and diabetes, and their offspring carried the same gene. So they also had ones that were slim. So it's just the power of what we do, think, eat, and breathe can really affect our genes. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
No matter where you're listening to TFNN programming, you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones, iPads, and Android devices, located in the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and call-in talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Join John Logan as he teaches you trading techniques utilizing the TAS Profile Scanner. The Global Market Pulse, next on TFNN.
And welcome back. I got this article, Epigenetics, How Our Lifestyle Can Impact Our Genes, and the importance of exercise for health is well established. We know that exercise lowers the risk of chronic diseases and helps maintain the energy balance for weight management.
This just seems to be the tip of the iceberg, though. And recent studies have linked exercise to methylation of specific genes related to risk factors for chronic disease.
Yeah, it's interesting because in terms of obesity, exercise can actually change the way fat is stored in the body. And this was a 6-month exercise study that talked about how it really changes the expression. Everything changes when you start exercising. It doesn't have to be something that you do for hours and hours on end. We're talking about a few hours a week is enough exercise. We've been exercising people to death because they think it's going to change their body and lose a lot of weight. That's not true. It'll change the shape of your body. It's not going to lose weight. Lose weight has to do with what you eat.
Sure. But the way we store the fat can be influenced by this, how we methylate ourselves.
Definitely.
And methylate to turn on the gene switches or turn them off. So the relationship between exercise and chronic disease is difficult to measure in the human population, but there's been a link. Maybe you can carry on there.
Yeah, there's a lot of links. In the study asserted the link between physical exercise and the risk of breast cancer. A cohort of over 25,000 women were followed for 13.7 years. In this study, there's a greater leisure time physical activity. Those with greater leisure time physical activity were associated with a lowered risk of breast cancer. This is kind of a little confusing. Greater leisure time physical activity. So they had leisure time, they decided to exercise.
Right, they didn't become a couch potato.
Right, we're not talking about working here. We're talking about doing it. I've got some time to spare. I'm going to exercise.
So there's many more studies needed to fully understand the implications of exercise on epigenetics. However, the association between exercise and positive epigenetic modification is very clear. And also, we should talk about performance, exercise and performance.
Yeah.
And, can these epigenetic changes as a result of exercise also, impact performance?
It definitely does. I mean, I see it in my own life.
It appears that exercise does indeed. It promotes changes that will benefit performance and not just lower your risk for disease. A recent study looked at skeletal muscle formulation and how that exercise impacted the formation of bones. And we could go on and on.
Yeah, and you might be wondering how much exercise you need to gain these positive benefits. It's great to have positive benefits from your daily exercise, but it doesn't mean that you have to go hours and hours. 26 to 30 minutes a day versus 10 minutes a day, you didn't find a lot of difference.
This is interesting, though. Are these epigenetic changes permanent? If someone spends a couple months engaging in exercise training, will the positive epigenetic changes sustain long after the activity is ceased?
I think it'll sustain itself for a while, but then
it says, unfortunately, it does not appear so. Epigenetic changes are a response to an environmental stress. So if you then revert back to your couch potato ways, then those genes will perhaps switch back. But then let's switch them back on. So
we got some major takeaway messages in this, and one is endurance exercise not only improves health at a cellular level, but it also is associated with the methylation genes, lower risk of many things.
So we may be born with a set of genes, folks, as we've said before, but what we do in our day-to-day life really can determine which genes are expressed.
I agree. And, how you can get a lot of this information, folks, is pick up my Health Signals newsletters. Yeah, it's very healthy, that's for sure. I want to remind you that John Logan is next on TFNN with the Global Market Pulse, so stick around for that. We're going to be back with our next show, and I know that you're working really hard on this thing, so we're looking forward to hearing from Robbie Bessner again on Thursday.
I think he's going to give us some updates too. So everyone have a really healthy day, and remember that you are empowered. Empowerment means I am a powerful mind, and that's you. You are a powerful mind. You're in control of your health. So grab it and have a great day.
Thanks for sticking around, folks. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman wave sequence. Using the Chapman wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.